Welcome to my channel. Let me show you how to solve this question on the board. Now we're given what? 4 raised to x is equal what? Infinity root of 2. And we are expected to find the value of x. I want you to understand that the infinity root of 2 you are seeing is the same as equals to what? Infinity raised to what? 1 divided by infinity. Remember, infinity simply means a certain number that does not have an n. You continue going with that and what? N. That is infinity, okay? Now, if we turn this to put in the function that f of what? F of n is equals to what? The n root of 2, which is equals to 2 raised to what? N 1 divided by n. And if you have that, the limit of this function, which is what? 2 raised to what? 1 divided by n. Let's say that our n tends to what? Infinity. What will be the outcome here? This will be equals to 2 raised to what? 1 divided by infinity, which is equals to what? 2 raised to the power of 0, because anything divided by infinity in limit of a function is what? Is 0. So 1 divided by infinity is 0. We are having 0 here. So this is equals to what? 1. This implies that the infinity root you are seeing can also be seen as 2 raised to the power of 1 divided by infinity. And if you take, as you apply here, that means this is equals to what? 1. If here is n and n tends to infinity, you have 1. That's to say that 4 raised to what? X is equals to what? 1. That means all this is just what? 1. Right? Now, since we know by one of the properties of indices that anything raised to the power of 0 is 1. Remember that a raised to the power of 0 is equals to 1 in the sense that a is not equals to what? 0. We are not wrong if you decide to write this one you are seeing as 4 raised to the power of 0. 4 is the base and the exponent is what? 0. So 4 raised to the power of 0 is what? 1. But the base must not be equals to 0. That's to say that 4 raised to what? 4 raised to s is equals to 4 raised to what? 0. In the sense that the base must not equals to what? 0. Right? Now, you can see that the bases are the same, right? We can do without them and see that s is equals to what? 0. This is the value of x. If this question was being given us to, if the question was being given to us and they asked us to use what? Calculus approach or infinite what? Approach. So using what? Limit approach, we can apply it this way and solve it. But you know, we can also solve this question using what? Algebraic method of solving this question. So some people can say the answer is 0. They are not wrong. Some people can say the answer is this. They are not also wrong. But using that s equals to 0, when this question was not asked for us to solve it using what? Calculus approach, for me is wrong. Okay, because look at the question, you are going to solve this question using what? Algebraic what? Method, not applying this calculus approach. I didn't say it's bad, it's not bad, but solving it this way, you are not applying limit any n. It's good, I agree, it's good. But you know that one of the interesting things I'm going to show you about this question, which you will love it, okay? I know that your s is equals to 0 using your what? Approach or what? Calculus. But let me show you how to solve this question using what? Algebraic what? Method. And you will love it. Please, if you know that today is the first time coming across this video, don't hesitate. Subscribe to this channel so that anytime I do exciting videos like this, you will notify. Okay? Now let me show you an amazing method of solving this question. Okay? Very interesting and you will love it. Okay? Now, don't forget that using calculus approach, we have the x is 0. Right? Now, do you know that infinity root of 2 can also be seen as equals to root 2 to the power of root 2 to the power of root 2 to what? Infinity. This dash is to infinity. Okay? So I can say let y equals to 2 raised to root 2 raised to the power of root 2 raised to the power of root 2 to what? Infinity. Right? So if I call this equation 1 and I call this equation 2. Now look at what I'm going to do. That means y is equals to root what? Root 2 raised to the power of what? Y. You know what I've just done? I want you to understand that root 2 to the power of 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 root 2 can be continued going. Okay, so what I did here, look, I say let y equals to this, right? So what I did, y is equals to root 2. Now 1 2, it can also reach 3 and be going. So that means y can also be equals to root 2 to the power of root 2 to the power of root 2 to the power of root 2 and be going. So what I did, I only take this to still represent my y, which you are seeing here. Okay, wow, this is interesting, right? Now, do you know that algebraic method of solving question open our eyes to see the beautiful part of that particular question? Calculus is not wrong, calculus is also right. But always make sure you approach that particular question use what? Algebraic method. You see the amazing and the beautiful part of that question. Okay? At this point, what I'm going to do, I'm going to remove this y from here and take it to this part. So what I'm going to do is to multiply both powers by the reciprocal of what? Y. If I do that, I'm going to see that y to the power of what? Y to the power of 1 divided by y is equals to what? Into root what? Y to the power of y, then multiply by 1 divided by y. Because of what? Because I multiply both powers by the reciprocal of what? Y. Do you know that the reciprocal of 2 is 1 over 2? Do you know that the reciprocal of 3 is 1 over 3? So the reciprocal of this y you're seeing is 1 over what? Y. So what I did, I multiply both powers by what? By 1 over y. Wow, this is beautiful. So that this can cancel out this. And now say that y raised to what? 1 divided by y is equals to what? Root 2. At this point, what I'm going to do, I'm going to raise this to become exponent. Do you know that root 2 is something as 2 raised to 1, 2 raised to half. That means y raised to the power of what? Y raised to the power of what? 1 divided by y is equals to what? 2 raised to the power of what? 1 divided by 2. Now, we are going to compare the base here and compare the powers. So you can say that the base here is y equals to 2, or the power, which is what? 1 divided by y is equals to 1 divided by 2. So let's see whether it agrees. By cross multiply, 2 times 1 will give us 2, and y times 1 will give us 1. Y times 1 give us what? Y. So we can see that this implies that our y is equals to what? 2. This is the value of y. Wow, this is propertarians, right? I love this. Wow. Now let's recall something very interesting. Since we are getting the value of our what? Of our y, right? Let's recall something very interesting, okay? Now, remember that this is equals to this. That means, and y is equals to this. That means the infinite root of 2 is equals to y. Okay, as you can see here, because this represents y, so this is sent as y. And I want you to understand this. This is what they call, is called what? Infinite what? Infinite what? Power tower. Power what? Tower, right? Take note. Infinite, this thing you are seeing is called what? Infinite power what? Tower. Okay? Now, we're going to substitute this here. So that means 4 raised to what? X is equals to y. I'm going to that our y is 2, right? So that means 4 raised to what? X is equals to what? 2. What we're going to do is to put 4 in exponential form. So 4 can also be seen as 2 raised to 2 represent 4, all raised to the exponent, which is x, equals to what? 2. Then the index inside the parentheses can multiply the index outside, right? Can multiply the index outside. So that means 2 raised to 2x is equals to what? 2. The power here is 1. Now, since the bases are the same, we can do without them and equal the powers. So we can do without them and say that 2x is equals to 1. Now, for us to have the value of s, I have to divide both sides by the coefficient of s, which is 2. So if we divide here by 2 and divide here by 2, 2 cancel out. So x is equals to 1 divided by 2, which is the solution to this question. My question is, why is it that this problem is having 2 solutions? We are having here s equals to 0 or s equals to 1 over 2. Let me tell you, this question was being given without a principles of applying what? Calculus. It was given to solve it algebraically. Okay, so we can see that this question is being solved what? Algebraically. So it's when s equals to 1 over 2 is the value solution to this question. I didn't say that s equals to 0 is wrong. It's not wrong because this question was not applied to any principles of what? Calculus. So you using the calculus approach to solve this question, you are solving the calculus way. But if you are solving this question algebraically, you have your answer equals to what? 1 over 2. So this is a beautiful solution to this question. I know most of you guys will got that your answer is 0. I didn't doubt, but remember this question was not given to us to solve it using what? Calculus approach. You can solve it directly using what algebraic what approach, and this is a beautiful solution to this question. So thank you so much for watching. Please, you know, if anything interesting, don't hesitate. You to like, comment, and share video to loved ones or others who learn from it. And if you are not subscribed, kindly subscribe to this channel so that any other exciting videos you notify. So thank you so much, and God bless you. Bye bye.